The Secretary of State says he believes many other Middle Eastern nations will soon follow the lead of Bahrain and the UAE and fully recognize Israel. One America's Hans Hubbard reports.
Mike Pompeo underlines the foreign policy accomplishments of the Trump administration and asserts his confidence that its work towards peace in the Middle East will provide long-lasting benefits to the region. The Secretary of State made those remarks during a Sunday interview at the tail end of his most recent diplomatic tour of the Middle East, pointing the spotlight at the administration's achievement of normalized relations between Israel and several of its Arab neighbors, a decades-old goal of U.S. foreign policy. Pompeo intimated a belief the process will spill over into more regional powers recognizing Israel.
So I'm very confident that other nations will join what the Emiratis have done, the Bahrainis have done, the Sudanese have done, and recognize the rightful place of Israel among nations. So yes, I'm very confident they'll do it because it's the right thing to do for their nation, because it'll increase prosperity and security for their country. None of that could have happened without American leadership, without American engagement, without America laying down the reality of the risks in the Middle East, the mess from the Islamic Republic of Iran, primarily.
When questioned on why the Trump administration was able to achieve a goal that long eluded previous administrations, Pompeo attributed this to a fundamental shift in its analysis of Middle Eastern politics. What other administrations failed to see, the State Secretary said, is that the rise of Islamic extremism presents an existential threat to the region in a way that outpaces disagreements over the fate of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In particular, according to Pompeo, Iran's willingness to flout international norms by sponsoring state-sanctioned terrorism lays the groundwork for increased regional cooperation and calls for regional powers to unite against a common enemy. Previously,
administrations said, boy, if you don't solve the problem between Israel and the Palestinians, nothing can move. We must all hate Israel. That's wrong. That was fundamentally wrong. It didn't recognize the reality. The reality is that now the Gulf states and Israel recognize they have a common threat from Iran. That, in fact, while we would love for the Palestinians to engage with Israel, they have chosen not to. Their leadership has rejected President Trump's vision for peace. So these nations will choose to join the Abraham Accords at the time that makes sense for their security and their prosperity. I'm confident that they will do that.
Pompeo also highlighted other achievements in the region, including a successful offensive against the Islamic State, which under the Trump administration was reduced from controlling large swaths of Iraq and Syria to becoming isolated in small scattered pockets in the region. He concluded by lauding the Trump administration's efforts in securing the Middle East against extremism and assuring this work would result in long-term stabilization of the region under American leadership.
Yes, our policy has been consistent for the entire time that President Trump's been in office. It hasn't changed a bit. We've delivered on every commitment that we've made to countries throughout the Middle East. We've protected Americans. We've built up partners who want to be on America's side, who want to partner with the United States of America. There's no reason to think that'll change while President Trump's in office.
Hans Hubbard, One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Visit OANN.com for immediate access to all the clips you've been waiting to see.